The morning sun rose over Geneva as Admiral Daniel Carter stood on the balcony of the United Earth Government headquarters. He watched the city wake up below him, unaware that everything was about to change. His uniform felt heavier than usual today. The weight of responsibility pressed down on his shoulders like never before. 3 days ago they had come. The aliens, not with weapons or threats but with an invitation. A massive ship appeared in orbit above Earth, larger than anything humanity had ever built. It hung there in space like a silver moon, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The ship belonged to the Galactic Council and they wanted to talk. Daniel turned away from the window and walked back into the conference room. The room was filled with people. Diplomats, scientists, military officers, and government leaders from every nation on Earth. They all looked tired. Nobody had slept much since first contact. Ambassador Lauren Mitchell sat at the head of the table. She was younger than Daniel, maybe 40 years old, with sharp eyes and a calm voice. She had been chosen to lead the negotiations with the aliens. Now she shuffled through papers, her face serious. "They're here," someone said from the doorway. The room fell silent. Everyone stood up. Daniel felt his heart beat faster. He had fought in wars, commanded fleets, made life and death decisions. But this was different. This was humanity meeting its neighbors for the first time. The aliens walked in. There were 3 of them. They looked almost human, but not quite. Their skin had a slight blue tint and their eyes were larger, darker. They moved with grace as if the Earth's gravity was lighter than what they were used to. The leader wore robes that seemed to shimmer in the light. "I am High Chancellor Zelthar of the Vorthian people," the leader said. His voice was smooth, translated perfectly by a device on his chest. "I speak for the Galactic Council. We welcome humanity to the greater community of intelligent life." Lauren stepped forward. "Thank you for coming, Chancellor. I am Ambassador Lauren Mitchell. On behalf of Earth, we are honored by your presence." They all sat down. Zelthar placed a small device on the table. A holographic display appeared above it, showing star systems and planets. Daniel recognized Earth, a tiny blue dot among thousands of lights. "The galaxy is vast," Zelthar began. "There are dangers you cannot imagine. Hostile species, resource conflicts, chaos and war. For over 3,000 years, the Galactic Council has maintained peace among 47 civilizations. We offer you protection, knowledge, and prosperity." It sounded wonderful. Daniel wanted to believe it, but his military training made him cautious. Nothing in life was free. "What do you ask in return?" Lauren said. Zelthar smiled. "Only that you follow the same rules as every other member species. We have prepared a treaty for your review." Another hologram appeared. It showed a document, hundreds of pages long. Dr. Kevin Brooks, the scientist sitting next to Daniel, leaned forward to study it. Kevin was the smartest person Daniel knew. If anyone could understand alien technology and language, it was him. "We will need time to review this," Lauren said carefully. "Of course," Zelthar said. "You have 30 days. But understand this treaty is not negotiable. Every species that joins the Council accepts these exact terms. We cannot make exceptions." Daniel felt something cold settle in his stomach. Not negotiable. Those words bothered him. The meeting continued for hours. Zelthar explained the benefits. Advanced technology, medical treatments that could cure diseases, energy systems that would end Earth's power problems, trade opportunities, cultural exchanges. It all sounded perfect, too perfect. When the aliens finally left, the room exploded with conversation. Everyone was excited, talking over each other. But Daniel stayed quiet. He watched Lauren's face. She looked worried. "Admiral Carter," a voice said behind him. He turned to see Commander Lisa Harper, his intelligence officer. She was holding a tablet, her expression serious. "We need to talk privately." They walked to a small office down the hall. Kevin joined them. Lisa closed the door and activated a security field. No one could listen to them now. "I've been reading the treaty," Lisa said. "The real treaty, not the summary they showed us." "Daniel, this is bad." She brought up the document on her tablet. Page after page of legal language. Kevin helped her translate some of the more complex terms. As they read, Daniel's worry grew into alarm. "Section 47, Lisa said. "Humanity would have to dismantle 80% of our military. We can keep only defensive forces approved by the Council." "Section 62, Kevin added. All technological research must be submitted to the Council for approval. They control what we can and cannot develop. Section 91, Lisa continued. Resource-rich territories must be open to Council exploitation. We wouldn't control our own planets and moons. Daniel felt sick. This isn't a partnership. It's surrender. There's more, Kevin said quietly. Section 105. Mandatory population distribution quotas. They can tell us where humans are allowed to live. Section 112. Council observers in all government meetings. Section 120. They can veto any law we make. The three of them sat in silence. The wonderful opportunity suddenly looked like a trap. We need to tell the others, Daniel said. But when they returned to the main conference room, they found it divided. Some leaders were celebrating. They saw only the benefits: free technology, protection from threats, an end to Earth's problems. Other leaders were more cautious. They asked questions. What threats? Why couldn't they negotiate the terms? Why did they have to give up so much? President Richard Owens stood up. He was an older man, gray-haired and experienced. He had led Earth through difficult times before. Now he raised his hand for silence. Enough, he said. We all need to read this treaty carefully. Every word, every clause. We have 30 days to decide. Let's use them wisely. Over the next few weeks, the debate grew fiercer. News of the alien contact spread across Earth. People had opinions. Some wanted to join the Council immediately. Others urged caution. Protests happened in cities around the world, both for and against accepting the treaty. Lauren tried to negotiate with Zelthar. She met with him several times, asking if certain terms could be modified. His answer was always the same. No exceptions. Every species must accept the treaty as written. Why? Lauren finally asked during one meeting. If the Council truly wants cooperation, why can't you compromise? Zelthar's expression remained calm. Because chaos must be controlled, Ambassador. We learned long ago that flexibility leads to conflict. Uniformity brings peace. Uniformity, Lauren repeated. You mean obedience. I mean order, Zelthar corrected. Your species is young. You do not yet understand the dangers of independence. Trust us. We know what is best. Lauren reported back to President Owens. He won't budge. Not even on small points. It's all or nothing. Daniel stood by the window again, looking out at Geneva. 28 days had passed. In 2 more days, they had to give their answer. The whole world waited. Lisa entered the room. We have a problem, she said. Our satellites detected Council warships moving into position near our colonies. They're surrounding us. Daniel's jaw tightened. They're preparing for our answer. If we say no, they'll be ready to enforce it. Can we fight them? President Owens asked. Daniel considered the question carefully. Their technology is superior. Their numbers are greater. In a straight fight, we would lose. But you didn't say we would lose, the president noted. You said in a straight fight. Daniel allowed himself a small smile. Humans don't fight fair when survival is at stake. The president gathered his closest advisors. Lauren, Daniel, Kevin, Lisa, and leaders from every major nation. They met in a secure room deep underground. We need to vote, President Owens said. Accept the treaty and surrender our freedom, or reject it and face the consequences. This is the most important decision in human history. Each of you represents billions of people. Choose wisely. One by one, they voted. The room was silent except for the sound of each person pressing a button. Accept or reject, yes or no. Freedom or safety. When the votes were counted, President Owens looked at the result. His face was grave. He looked around the room at each person. The vote is unanimous, he said. We reject the treaty. Nobody cheered. They all knew what this meant. War was coming. Lauren stood up. I'll prepare the announcement. Daniel pulled her aside. Are we doing the right thing? She met his eyes. I don't know. But I know that living on our knees isn't living at all. Our ancestors fought for freedom. We owe it to them and to our children to do the same. Daniel nodded. She was right. Whatever happened next, humanity would face it standing tall. Outside, the sun set over Geneva. In space above, the Council warships waited. Tomorrow, Ambassador Lauren Mitchell would deliver humanity's answer. Tomorrow, everything would change. But tonight, for one last moment, Earth was still free, and that freedom was worth fighting for. Dr. Kevin Brooks hadn't slept in 2 days. His eyes burned as he stared at the computer screens in front of him. Around him, the research lab was quiet except for the hum of machines. It was 3 in the morning and he was alone. He had been studying the data the Galactic Council sent with their treaty. Historical records of the 47 member species. Information about how each one joined the council. It should have been boring reading. Instead, it was terrifying. Kevin pulled up another file. The Zelvani species. They rejected council membership 800 years ago. According to the records, they were destroyed by a hostile alien race called the Kreth just 5 years later. Complete extinction. He opened another file. The Morthak people. They said no to the council 400 years ago. Dead within 3 years. The records blamed internal conflicts and resource wars. Another file. The Quinn rejected the council 200 years ago. Destroyed by pirates and raiders within 6 years. Kevin sat back in his chair. His hands were shaking. Every species that rejected the council was gone. Every single one. The official explanations varied, but the pattern was clear. Say no to the council and somehow you disappeared. Kevin? He jumped. Commander Lisa Harper stood in the doorway. She looked as tired as he felt. Lisa, you scared me. Sorry. She walked over and looked at his screens. What are you working on? Kevin showed her. File after file, species after species, all dead. All within a few years of rejecting the council. Lisa's face went pale. This can't be coincidence. It's not, Kevin said. I've run the statistical analysis. The probability of this happening naturally is less than 1%. Someone is making these species disappear. The council, Lisa whispered. We need to tell Admiral Carter, Kevin said. They found Daniel in his office an hour later. He listened to their findings without interrupting. When they finished, he stood up and walked to the window. So if we reject the treaty, Daniel said slowly, we're signing our death warrant. Maybe not immediately, Lisa said, but within a few years, yes. The council will find a way to eliminate us. How? Daniel asked. If they wanted to destroy us, why not just attack? Why this elaborate treaty? Kevin had thought about this. Public relations, maybe. The council maintains its image as peacekeepers. They can't openly commit genocide, so they create situations where species either join them or die from other causes. They keep their hands clean. We need more proof, Daniel said. The president won't act on statistics alone. That's when Lisa's communication device buzzed. She looked at it and her eyes widened. I have a contact request. It's encrypted. Very encrypted. Someone doesn't want anyone else to know about this conversation. Accept it, Daniel said. A hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed an alien, but not Vorthine like the council representatives. This one looked different. Shorter, with rough gray skin and forearms. His face was scarred and his eyes looked old and sad. My name is Kren, the alien said. His voice was rough. I don't have much time. They monitor everything. I'm taking a huge risk contacting you. Who are you? Daniel asked. I was a military officer in the council fleet. Was. Not anymore. I left when I learned the truth about what we really do. Lisa leaned forward. What truth? Kren looked around nervously as if someone might be watching. The council isn't a peaceful alliance. It's a prison. Every species that joins gives up its freedom. They become dependent on council technology, council protection, council everything. After a few generations, they can't survive without the council. They're trapped. And the species that refuse? Kevin asked, though he already knew the answer. Eliminated, Kren said. The council uses secret military units. They stage attacks, make it look like pirates or other threats. Sometimes they create internal conflicts, turn the species against itself. Whatever works. The result is always the same. Within a few years, the species is gone. Why are you telling us this? Daniel asked. Kren's expression was pained. Because I helped do it twice. I was part of the operations that destroyed the Quinn and the Bather. I followed orders. I told myself it was necessary for galactic peace. But I was wrong. I was a murderer. So you deserted, Lisa said. I couldn't do it anymore. I've been hiding for 3 years. Moving from place to place. When I heard the council contacted humanity, I knew I had to warn you. Your species still has a chance. You're strong. You're clever. You might be able to resist. Can you prove any of this? Daniel asked. Kren transmitted data files. These are classified council military records. Operation reports, coordinates, attack plans. It's all there. How they destroyed the species that said no. Kevin downloaded the files and started reviewing them immediately. His face grew darker as he read. This is authentic. These are real military documents. What does the council want? Daniel asked Kren. Why do this? Why not just leave independent species alone? Control, Kren said simply. The council leadership believes that chaos is the greatest threat to civilization. Independent species are chaotic, unpredictable. They might develop dangerous technologies. They might start wars. So the council eliminates all variables. Everyone must follow the same rules, think the same way, accept the same limits. It's not evil in their eyes. It's necessary order. It's tyranny, Lisa said. Yes, Kren agreed, but tyranny that calls itself peace. That's why it's lasted so long. Most council species genuinely believe they're part of something good. They don't know about the secret operations. Only the highest leaders and special military units know the truth. Why are you still alive? Daniel asked. If you deserted and know all this, why hasn't the council found you? They're looking. Every day. I won't last much longer. That's why I had to contact you now. Humanity is about to make a choice. I needed you to know the truth before you decide. The hologram flickered. Kren looked panicked. They've found my signal. I have to go. Good luck, humans. I hope you survive what's coming. The transmission ended. The three of them stood in silence. We need to take this to the president, Lisa said. They called an emergency meeting. President Owens, Ambassador Lauren Mitchell, and the key leaders gathered again. Kevin presented the statistical evidence. Lisa showed them Kren's military documents. Daniel explained what it all meant. The room was silent when they finished. Finally, Lauren spoke. So our choice is simple. Accept the treaty and lose our freedom slowly, or reject it and be destroyed quickly. There might be a third option, Daniel said. We fight. Against the entire Galactic Council? Someone asked. That's suicide. Maybe, Daniel admitted. But at least we'd die free. And maybe, just maybe, we'd survive. Humans have a habit of winning fights they're supposed to lose. President Owens looked at each person in the room. Before we make this decision, I want to confront the council with this evidence. Let's see what they say. Lauren arranged a meeting with High Chancellor Zelthar. She brought Daniel and Kevin with her. They met in the same conference room where negotiations had started weeks ago. Zelthar entered with his usual calm confidence. Ambassador Mitchell. Have you reached a decision? Not yet, Lauren said. But we have questions. We've been studying the history of species that rejected council membership. They all died within a few years. Can you explain that? Zelthar's expression didn't change. The galaxy is dangerous, Ambassador. Species without council protection are vulnerable. It's unfortunate but predictable. We have evidence, Kevin said, pulling up Kren's files. Military records showing council operations against independent species. Planned attacks. Coordinated elimination campaigns. You're not protecting the galaxy. You're controlling it. For the first time, Zelthar's calm cracked. His eyes narrowed. Where did you get those files? That doesn't matter, Lauren said. What matters is they're real. You've been lying to us. The council isn't offering partnership. You're demanding submission. Zelthar was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was cold. You don't understand. Chaos must be contained. Free species are unpredictable. They develop dangerous technologies. They start wars. They threaten galactic stability. The council maintains order. Without us, civilization would collapse into violence. By killing anyone who won't obey, Daniel said. By doing what's necessary, Zelthar corrected. You're young. Your species has only just reached the stars. You don't understand the long view. In time, you'll see we're right. Lauren stood up. We understand perfectly. You're offering us a choice between slavery and death. You call it order. We call it tyranny. Zelthar stood as well. Then you've made your decision. Not yet, Lauren said. But we will soon. They returned to the underground command center. President Owens was waiting. He looked at their faces and knew immediately what had happened. He didn't deny it, Lauren said. He admitted everything. Said it was necessary. The president nodded slowly. Then we know the truth. The only question now is what we do about it. He called for another vote. But this time everyone knew exactly what they were choosing. Accept the treaty and become slaves. Reject it and fight for survival. The votes came in one by one. When they were counted, the result was the same as before. Unanimous rejection. President Owens looked around the room. Then it's decided. We reject the Galactic Council's terms. All of them. We will announce our decision. The broadcast went out at exactly noon, Geneva time. Every screen on Earth showed the same image. Ambassador Lauren Mitchell stood at a podium, the flag of the United Earth government behind her. She looked tired but determined. The signal was also transmitted to every council communication channel in the galaxy. Billions of aliens across 47 civilizations would hear humanity's answer. Lauren took a deep breath and began to speak. Representatives of the Galactic Council, people of Earth. Today, humanity makes a historic decision. We have carefully reviewed the treaty offered to us. We have studied its terms. We have considered the benefits and the costs, and we have reached a unanimous conclusion. She paused. Across the galaxy, aliens leaned forward. On Earth, people held their breath. We decline, Lauren said clearly. Humanity rejects all terms of the Galactic Council's membership treaty. Admiral Daniel Carter watched from the command center deep underground. He saw the shock ripple across the faces of the council representatives monitoring the broadcast. They hadn't expected this. Nobody rejected the council, nobody. Lauren continued. We are grateful for the opportunity to join the galactic community. We appreciate the knowledge and technology you have offered, but we cannot accept the conditions you have set. The treaty you presented is not a partnership. It is surrender. You ask us to dismantle our defenses, to surrender control of our resources, to submit every aspect of our development to your approval, to give up our right to govern ourselves. These are not terms of cooperation. They are terms of subjugation. On the Council flagship orbiting Earth, High Chancellor Zelthar watched the broadcast. His face showed no emotion, but his hands gripped the armrests of his chair so tightly his knuckles turned white. Humanity has fought too long and too hard for freedom to surrender it now. Lauren said, we are not a perfect species. We have made mistakes. We have fought wars among ourselves, but we have also learned from our errors. We have grown. We have united, and we will not give up our right to chart our own destiny. To the Galactic Council, we say this. We hope to build peaceful relationships with you and all species in the galaxy, but those relationships must be based on mutual respect, not domination. We will not join your council under the current terms. We will remain independent. We will defend ourselves if necessary, but we will also extend the hand of friendship to any who will accept it as equals. Lauren's voice grew stronger. To the people of Earth, this is a dangerous path we have chosen. The council will not be pleased. We may face threats. We may face conflict, but we face them as free people. We will not bow. We will not surrender. We will stand together as we always have in our darkest hours. To all species in the galaxy who live under the Council's rule, we know your history. We know how you were given the same choice we were given. We know some of you wish you had chosen differently. Humanity stands as proof that another way is possible. You are not alone. You never were. She looked directly into the camera. This is humanity's answer. We reject your terms. All of them. We will be free or we will die trying. There is no third option. The broadcast ended. For a moment, there was silence across Earth. Then the cheering started. In cities and towns, people celebrated. They didn't fully understand the danger. They only knew that humanity had chosen freedom, but in the command center, nobody was celebrating. Daniel's communications officer spoke up. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the Council flagship. Put it through, Daniel ordered. Zelthar's face appeared on the main screen. His calm mask was gone. He looked angry. You have made a terrible mistake, Admiral Carter. We've made our choice, Daniel replied calmly. We stand by it. You don't understand what you've done. The Council maintains order in the galaxy. Without us there is chaos, war, destruction. We offer protection and you spit on it. You offer slavery, Daniel said. We prefer chaos to chains. Zelthar leaned forward. You have 48 hours to reconsider. After that, the Council will classify humanity as an unaligned species. You will have no protection, no allies. You will be alone in a hostile galaxy. And if we don't reconsider, Daniel asked, though he knew the answer, then the Council will do what it must to maintain order. Your decision will have consequences. The transmission ended. Daniel turned to his officers. He just declared war. He didn't say it directly, but that's what he meant. We have 48 hours. After that, they'll attack. Commander Lisa Harper pulled up tactical displays. The Council fleet is already in position. 20 warships surrounding Earth. Another 15 near our Mars colony. 10 more at the Jupiter mining stations. They've been preparing for this. How many ships do we have? President Owens asked. He had joined them in the command center. 32 combat-ready vessels, Daniel replied, plus another 45 that are armed but less capable. We're outnumbered, and their technology is better than ours. Can we win? The president asked. Daniel considered lying. Then he decided the president deserved the truth. Not in a direct fight. Their ships are faster, better armed, and better defended. If we meet them in open battle, we'll lose. Then what do we do? Daniel smiled, though there was no humor in it. We don't fight fair. Over the next 48 hours, Earth transformed into a fortress. Every military vessel was recalled. Defense stations were activated around Earth, Mars, and the outer colonies. Civilian ships were evacuated from dangerous areas. Planetary shields were powered up. But Daniel wasn't preparing for a defensive battle. He was planning an ambush. Dr. Kevin Brooks worked with the engineering teams. They had studied the Council's technology during the negotiations. They found weaknesses. The Council ships were powerful, but they relied on predictable systems. They followed standard protocols. They expected everyone to fight the same way. Humans didn't fight that way. Lisa coordinated with the intelligence division. They had been monitoring Council communications. The enemy commanders were confident, maybe too confident. They expected humanity to surrender quickly. They didn't think humans would actually fight. That was a mistake. As the deadline approached, messages came in from unexpected sources. Encrypted transmissions from Council member worlds. Some were just words of encouragement. Others offered information about Council tactics. A few even sent technical data about weaknesses in Council ships. One message came from Kren. He was still alive, still hiding. The whole galaxy is watching, his message said. Many of us are hoping you survive. If humanity can stand against the Council, maybe others can too. Good luck. The 48 hours ended. Daniel stood on the bridge of the Earth defense ship Independence, humanity's most advanced warship. Around him, his crew worked quietly. They were scared, but they were ready. Incoming transmission, the communications officer reported. It's Zelthar. Let's hear it, Daniel said. Zelthar's face appeared on the screen. Admiral Carter, this is your final chance. Reconsider your decision. Accept the Council's terms. There is still time to avoid unnecessary bloodshed. Daniel looked at the faces of his crew, young men and women who were willing to die for freedom. He thought of the billions of people on Earth who had trusted their leaders to make the right choice. He thought of the other species in the galaxy, watching, hoping. No, Daniel said simply. Zelthar's expression hardened. Then you have chosen destruction. The Council fleet will now enforce compliance. You will surrender your weapons. You will allow us to occupy your worlds. You will accept Council authority. Resist and you will be eliminated. This is your last warning, Chancellor, Daniel said quietly. Let me make something clear. Humanity doesn't surrender. We don't bow. We don't break. You want a war? You've got one. But understand this, we won't fight by your rules. We won't meet you in neat formations for a proper battle. We'll hit you from the shadows. We'll use every dirty trick we know. We'll make you bleed for every inch of space. And even if you win, even if you destroy us completely, we'll make you remember that humans don't go quietly. He cut the transmission before Zelthar could respond. All ships, Daniel broadcast to the fleet. This is Carter. The Council has declared war. They think they'll defeat us easily. They think we'll surrender when we see their power. They're wrong. Today we show them what humans are made of. Today we fight for our freedom. All ships execute Operation Defiance. The Council fleet advanced toward Earth confident and organized. They came in perfect formation, following standard battle protocols. They expected humanity's ships to meet them in space for a traditional engagement, but the human ships didn't appear. The Council fleet searched, confused. Where was the enemy? Then, without warning, the attack began. Human ships emerged from hiding spots among asteroids and behind the moon. They didn't engage the main fleet. Instead, they targeted the Council's support vessels. Supply ships, communication relays, command ships. The Council fleet tried to respond, but the human ships were already gone. They struck and vanished, hit and run. Guerrilla warfare in space. Lisa's cyber warfare teams hacked into Council communications. They created confusion, false orders, contradictory commands. The enemy fleet's coordination began to break down. Kevin's engineers activated weapons the Council had never seen. Missiles that changed direction unpredictably. electromagnetic pulses that... 3 days after the first battle, the Galactic Council returned. But this time they brought twice as many ships. High Chancellor Zelthar had called for reinforcements from across the galaxy. He would not be embarrassed again. Admiral Daniel Carter watched the enemy fleet approach on his tactical display. 90 warships, against humanity's remaining 60 vessels. Many of his ships were damaged from the first battle. His crews were exhausted, but they were ready to fight again. "They're not going to fall for the same tricks," Commander Lisa Harper said. She stood beside him on the bridge of the Independence. "They'll be expecting hit-and-run tactics now." "I know," Daniel replied. "That's why we're going to do something they won't expect." "Something crazy?" Lisa raised an eyebrow. "How crazy?" "Very." Daniel pulled up his battle plan. Lisa looked at it and her eyes widened. "You want to ram their flagship?" "Not ram," Daniel corrected. "Board it. Take Zelthar hostage. Without their commander, the Council fleet will hesitate. That gives us the advantage we need." "That's suicide," Lisa said, but she was smiling. "When do we go?" The Council fleet entered Earth's solar system in perfect formation. This time, they didn't spread out. They stayed together, protecting each other. Their shields were at maximum. Their weapons were ready. They had learned from their mistakes. Zelthar sat in his command chair, watching the tactical displays. "Where are they?" he asked his officers. "Sensors detect human ships near Earth," an officer reported. "They're not moving. They appear to be in defensive positions around the planet." Zelthar frowned. That didn't make sense. Why would they defend Earth directly? They had to know they would lose that fight. Unless it was a trap. "Advance slowly," he ordered. "Full sensor sweeps. Watch for ambushes." The Council fleet moved forward cautiously. They approached Earth's orbit. The human ships waited, not moving, not attacking, just waiting. "This is wrong," Zelthar muttered. "They're planning something," he was right. But by the time he realized what, it was too late. The human ships suddenly fired. Not at the Council fleet, at empty space between them. Massive explosions erupted where nothing should be, and suddenly hidden mines appeared. Hundreds of them. The humans had filled the space with cloaked explosives. The Council fleet scattered, trying to avoid the mines. Their perfect formation broke apart, and that's when the human ships attacked. But they didn't attack the whole fleet. They focused on one target, Zelthar's flagship. 20 human ships led by the Independents charged directly at the flagship. They ignored everything else. They took hits from Council weapons. Some ships were destroyed, but the others kept coming. "Destroy them," Zelthar ordered. "All weapons on those ships." The flagship's weapons fired continuously. Human ships exploded, but there were too many, moving too fast. And they were using some kind of jamming technology that made targeting difficult. The Independents took heavy damage. Explosions rocked the ship. Crew members were thrown from their stations. Alarms blared, but Daniel kept the ship on course, almost there. He said through gritted teeth, "Hold together, old girl." The Independence crashed through the flagship's shields. Not with its hull, but with a penetrator missile. Dr. Kevin Brooks had designed it specifically for this purpose. The missile punched through the enemy shields and attached to the flagship's hull. "Breach successful," Lisa reported. "Boarding teams, go!" 50 human soldiers teleported directly into the Council flagship. It was risky. Teleportation technology was unstable, dangerous. But it was the only way to get inside quickly. Lisa led the boarding team. She materialized in a corridor inside the enemy ship. Around her, her soldiers appeared. 2 didn't make it. The teleportation killed them, but the rest were ready. "Move," Lisa ordered. "We have 10 minutes before they organize a defense." "Find the bridge." They ran through the corridors. Council crew members tried to stop them, but the humans were faster, more aggressive. They fought like demons. Every corridor was a battle. Every door was contested, but they kept moving forward. Alarms blared throughout the flagship. Zelthar stood up from his chair. "Intruders? How did they get aboard?" "They teleported directly through our shields," an officer reported. "They're heading this way." "Lock down the bridge," Zelthar ordered. "Get security teams here now." But the security teams were already fighting. Lisa's soldiers reached the bridge doors. They were heavy, reinforced, locked tight. But humans came prepared. "Breaching charge," one soldier shouted. The explosion blew the doors inward. Lisa rushed through the smoke, her weapon ready. Council officers turned to face her. She saw Zelthar standing at the center of the bridge. "Down," she ordered. "Everyone down now." A brief firefight erupted. Lisa's soldiers were better trained, more aggressive. Within seconds, they controlled the bridge. Council officers lay on the floor, disarmed. Zelthar stood alone, refusing to kneel. Lisa pointed her weapon at him. "Tell your fleet to stand down." Zelthar stared at her. "You're making this worse. Kill me and the Council will destroy Earth completely." "We're not going to kill you," Lisa said. "But you're going to order a ceasefire now." "Never." Lisa moved closer. "Chancellor, look around. Your bridge is captured. Your crew is disarmed. Your fleet is scattered and confused. The battle is over. You lost. The only question now is how many more people die before you accept it." Zelthar's jaw tightened. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then slowly, he walked to the communication console. "All Council ships," he said, his voice heavy. "This is High Chancellor Zelthar. Ceasefire. Withdraw to defensive positions. I repeat, ceasefire." Across the battlefield, Council ships stopped shooting. They pulled back, confused but obedient. The human ships also ceased fire, though they remained alert. On the Independence, Daniel let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. It worked. "I can't believe it actually worked." Lisa's voice came through the communication system. "Bridge secured. We have Zelthar." Daniel allowed himself a small smile. "Good work, Commander. Bring him to Earth. We need to have a conversation with the High Chancellor." 6 hours later, Zelthar sat in a conference room in Geneva. He was not restrained, not imprisoned, but he was surrounded by human guards. Across the table from him sat President Richard Owens, Ambassador Lauren Mitchell, and Admiral Daniel Carter. "You've proven your point," Zelthar said bitterly. "Humans can fight. You're more dangerous than we thought, but this changes nothing. The Council has thousands of ships, millions of soldiers. You won one battle. You cannot win the war." "Maybe not," President Owens agreed, "but we'll make it cost you. Every battle will be like this one, unpredictable, costly, brutal. Even if you win, even if you destroy Earth, the price will be high. Is it worth it?" "The Council cannot allow defiance," Zelthar said. "If humanity remains independent, others will try to break free. The order we've maintained for thousands of years will collapse." "Good," Lauren said. "Your order is tyranny. It deserves to collapse." Zelthar looked at her. "You don't understand. The galaxy needs order. Without the Council, there will be wars, chaos, suffering." "There's already suffering," Lauren replied. "The suffering of species who have no freedom, who live in fear of the Council, who can't develop their own technology or make their own choices. You call it order. We call it slavery. What do you want?" Zelthar asked. "If I return to the Council and tell them humanity defeated us, they'll send an even larger fleet. This won't end." President Owens leaned forward. "Then don't tell them we defeated you. Tell them humanity is too difficult to conquer. Tell them the cost is too high. Recommend that they leave us alone." "They won't accept that," Zelthar said. "Then we keep fighting," Daniel said simply, "and eventually other species will notice. They'll see that the Council can be resisted. They'll start to rebel. Your perfect order will crumble, one species at a time." Zelthar was silent for a long time. He looked old suddenly, tired. "You've already started something you can't control. Messages are spreading across the galaxy. Other species are asking questions. Some are talking about independence. Then maybe it's time for the Council to change," Lauren suggested. "Real change. Real cooperation instead of domination. Freedom instead of control." "The Council will never agree to that," Zelthar said. "Then the Council will fall," President Owens said. "One way or another. You can either be part of building something better, or you can fight until there's nothing left. The choice is yours." Zelthar stood up. "I need to return to my ship. I need to think about what you've said." "You're free to go," President Owens said. "We're not keeping you prisoner. But understand this, humanity will remain independent. We will defend ourselves, and we will offer friendship to any species that wants the same freedom we have." Zelthar looked at each of them in turn. Then he nodded once and left the room. When he was gone, Daniel turned to the president. "Do you think he'll really reconsider? Or will he just bring more ships?" "I don't know," the president admitted. "But we've shown the galaxy what's possible. We've proven that the Council can be resisted. That's worth something, even if more fighting comes." Lauren walked to the window and looked out at the city. "It's already started. My communications team is getting messages from dozens of council member worlds. They're asking how we did it. They're asking if we can help them. 2 months after the battle, Ambassador Lauren Mitchell stood in a new conference room. But this time she wasn't on Earth. She was aboard a neutral space station, far from both human and council territory. And she wasn't alone. Representatives from 12 different species filled the room. Some were council members. Others were independent species that had never joined. All of them had come in secret, risking punishment from the council. Kren stood beside Lauren. The former council soldier had come out of hiding to help organize this meeting. He looked nervous but determined. "Thank you all for coming," Lauren began. "I know many of you took great risks to be here. The council is watching. They know something is happening. But you came anyway because you're tired of living under their control." A tall alien with purple skin stepped forward. Her name was Vel, and she represented the Skarath people. "We watched what humanity did. You stood up to the council. You fought them and survived. For the first time in our lives, we saw that resistance is possible." Another alien, shorter and covered in scales, spoke up. "I am Zor of the Kellian species. My people joined the council 300 years ago. We were told we would prosper. Instead, we became servants. The council controls everything we do, everything we build, everything we think. We want to be free again. Then let's talk about what freedom means," Lauren said, "and how we can achieve it together." The meeting lasted for hours. They discussed their grievances with the council. They shared stories of oppression. They talked about the species that had been eliminated for refusing to obey. And slowly they began to form a plan. "We need an alternative," Kren said. "The council claims that without them there would be chaos. We need to prove that's wrong. We need to show that species can cooperate without being controlled." "A new alliance," Vel suggested. "Based on choice, not force. Based on respect, not domination." "The Free Coalition," Lauren said. The name felt right. An alliance of independent species. We share technology freely. We defend each other willingly, but we never surrender our sovereignty. Every species remains free to govern itself." The representatives looked at each other. Slowly they began to nod. "It won't be easy," Zor warned. "The council will see this as rebellion. They'll try to stop us." "Let them try," Vel said fiercely. "We're not alone anymore. Together we're strong." They worked through the night, drafting a charter, the Charter of Sovereign Worlds. It was simple and clear. Every species had the right to self-determination. Every species had the right to defend itself. No species could impose its will on another. Technology would be shared freely, not hoarded. Conflicts would be resolved through dialogue, not force. It was everything the Galactic Council's treaty was not. Back on Earth, Admiral Daniel Carter prepared for what he knew was coming. The Council wouldn't accept the Free Coalition peacefully. They would see it as a threat, and they would respond with force. "Intelligence reports say the Council is gathering a massive fleet," Commander Lisa Harper told him. 300 ships. Maybe more. "They're planning to crush us before the Coalition can grow." Daniel studied the tactical displays. 300 ships. Even with the Coalition species helping, they would be badly outnumbered. "How many ships can the Coalition provide?" he asked. "About 50, Lisa replied. "Most of the Coalition species have small fleets. The Council never let them build large military forces. We'll have maybe 120 ships total against 300. "We faced worse odds," Daniel said, though that wasn't quite true. This would be the biggest battle yet. Dr. Kevin Brooks entered the command center. He looked excited. "I think I've found something. The Council ships all use the same power systems, same shields, same weapons. They standardized everything for efficiency. And," Daniel prompted, "and that means they all have the same weaknesses. If we can develop a weapon that exploits those weaknesses, we can level the playing field." Kevin pulled up technical diagrams. "I'm working on a pulse weapon. It won't destroy their ships, but it will overload their shields and disable their weapons temporarily." "How long do you need?" Daniel asked. 2 weeks, maybe less if the Coalition scientists help. Fel's people are excellent engineers." "You have 1 week," Daniel said. "That's all the time we have before the Council fleet arrives." Kevin nodded and rushed back to his lab. 6 days later, Lauren returned to Earth. She brought good news and bad news. The good news was that 5 more species had joined the Free Coalition. The bad news was that the Galactic Council had issued a formal declaration. President Richard Owens read the declaration aloud. The Galactic Council hereby declares the so-called Free Coalition to be an illegal organization. All species participating in this rebellion are ordered to surrender immediately. Failure to comply will result in military action. The Council will restore order by any means necessary. They're calling us rebels, Lauren said. They're making this about law and order, not freedom. Let them, the President replied. History is full of rebels who were on the right side. We're in good company. The Council fleet arrived 7 days after the declaration. High Chancellor Zelthar commanded it personally. He had returned to Council space after his capture, and apparently the Council leadership had not been pleased. Now he had to redeem himself by crushing the rebellion. Daniel watched the enemy fleet approach. 312 ships. It was overwhelming. But the Coalition fleet was ready. Human ships, Skarath ships, Kellian ships, ships from a dozen different species all flying together. All Coalition ships, this is Admiral Carter. Today we fight for more than survival. We fight for the right of every species to be free. The Council wants to control the galaxy. We're here to prove they can't. Stand together, fight together, and we'll win together. Zelthar broadcast his own message. Coalition forces, this is your last warning. Surrender now and you will be shown mercy. Continue this rebellion and you will be destroyed. The Council's patience is at an end. Daniel's response was simple. No, the battle began. The Council fleet advanced in perfect formation as always. But this time the Coalition was ready. They didn't try to match the Council's organization. Instead, they used the tactics humanity had taught them. Flexibility, unpredictability, creativity. Coalition ships scattered and reformed in unexpected patterns. They used the terrain of space, hiding in asteroid fields and nebulas. They struck from multiple directions at once. The Council fleet tried to respond, but their rigid training worked against them. And then Kevin's secret weapon was deployed. 50 modified missiles launched from Coalition ships. They exploded near Council vessels, releasing electromagnetic pulses. The pulses didn't destroy anything, but they overloaded the Council's standardized systems. Suddenly, dozens of Council ships found their shields failing, their weapons going offline. They were sitting targets. The Coalition fleet pressed the advantage. They targeted the disabled ships not to destroy them but to force them to retreat. One by one, Council vessels withdrew, their systems damaged. Zelthar watched his fleet crumble. How were they doing this? The Coalition was outnumbered. Their ships were inferior, but they were winning. All ships, regroup, he ordered desperately. Fall back to defensive positions. But the Coalition didn't give them time to regroup. Human ships led the charge and the others followed. They pushed hard, driving the Council fleet back. Lisa contacted Daniel from her ship. Admiral, we're getting a transmission. Multiple transmissions from Council member worlds. They're asking to join the Coalition. Daniel felt hope surge through him. How many? 15 species so far. They're watching the battle. They see us winning. They want to be free too. On his flagship, Zelthar received the same reports. Species were defecting. The Council was falling apart. Everything he had fought to preserve was crumbling. He sat down heavily in his command chair. He thought about what President Owens had said. The choice was his. Keep fighting until there was nothing left or accept that change was inevitable. Open a channel to Admiral Carter, Zelthar said quietly. Daniel's face appeared on the screen. Chancellor, I'm calling a ceasefire, Zelthar said. This battle is over. Unconditional? Daniel asked carefully. Yes, we cannot win this fight. And even if we could, what would be the point? Half the Council is defecting. The order we built is collapsing. Perhaps you were right. Perhaps it's time for something new. Daniel ordered the Coalition fleet to stand down. The fighting stopped. In the silence that followed, both sides assessed the damage. Many ships were destroyed or disabled. Many lives were lost, but the Coalition had survived. 3 weeks later, a ceremony was held on Earth. Representatives from 34 species gathered. Some were former Council members. Others were independent worlds. All of them came to sign the Charter of Sovereign Worlds. Lauren stood at the podium, looking out at the assembled delegates. Today marks a new beginning for the galaxy. We have proven that cooperation does not require domination. That order does not require oppression. That different species can work together as equals, respecting each other's freedom and sovereignty. The Free Coalition is not perfect. We will make mistakes. We will have disagreements. But we will face those challenges together as partners, not as masters and servants. This is what true cooperation looks like. One by one, the representatives signed the charter. When it was done, the crowd erupted in cheers. It was a sound heard